Watching Kyle's unboxing videos again?
Yeah, he always finds the coolest... No way! A robot dog? Gotta ask where he got it.
Or use your Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Just draw a circle around the dog on your screen, and it shows you where to buy it right in the app.
Whoa, I just learned a new trick. And that for once, I beat Kyle to the next big thing.
Circle it, find it with the new Galaxy S24 Ultra and circle the search with Google. Get yours now at Samsung.com. Internet connection required. Results may vary based on visuals.
I quit.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets. You set me up into a club. I started seeing a show. Everyone was there. Just everyone I know. The knickers and neck. The hands up on their heart. Best they've ever seen. The greatest book of art. I wish that it was me. It's bleaker than you think. I'm running out of ink. Give a guy a break. This is what it takes to drive a man to drink. A party at a friend's. You're all school to sing. Thought I'd bring a tape to show them where I've been. To listen for a while. The lyrics make them smile. They said that it was fine, although it's not their style. I said it wasn't me. Once upon a time, you couldn't get enough until I made it big, and that's when it got rough. Disappointed, no, the happiness was surprised. To look them in the face and see it in their eyes. They wish it wasn't me. I'm running out of ink. Give a guy a break. This is what it takes to drive a man to drink. To a club, I started seeing shows. Everyone was there. Everyone I know. The things that I'm missing. The hands and tells are hard. Best that ever seen. The neighbor and his wife. I wish that we sing along. You can't look. It's bigger than you think. It's bigger than you think. I'm running out of ink. I'm running out of ink. Give a guy a break. Give a guy a break. This is what it takes. This is what it takes. Drive a man to drink. Drive a man to drink. Could song be an alibi?
Didn't I guess?
Or a replacement for falling in love? But now that the well is dry, I can't understand what you singing out. Do you know what
It sounds quite slickly produced.
to love?
Since I said Barenaked Ladies Are Men last
I saw you on the phone, I see you all the time. Now that you are gone, I tried to call your name, but something made me stop. I called you once a day until you called the cops and told them it was me. I filled a plastic bag with everything I own. I filled it up a bridge and thought that it would float. But what I made it think, the bag was bleeding ink. I wish that I could swim, I wish that I could drink, I wish that it was me. It's bleaker than you think. I'm running out of ink. Give a guy a break. This is what it takes to drive me to drink. I'm running out of ink. Give a guy a break. This is what it takes to drive a man to drink. Drive a man to drink. Drive a man to drink.
Well, I give you that, but
That's a bit of a giveaway now. Well, it's credited to Ed and Steve both, of course. All the songs on this are Lennon McCartney type situations.
this is our last
But
song.
that being said,
Sad, I know.
I pulled up the stats
They got a clock
this week.
ticking here.
So
And
B&L
they
played this
seriously,
11
there's like
times
3 minutes left, and this song's longer than
while
3 minutes.
Stephen Page
So
was
then they'll
with
turn
the
the sound
band.
off. There'll
And
be
not
a
again
riot.
since.
Yeah, that's a
Stephen
good
has played
indicator.
Steven has played this song 13 times in his live from home concert.
I'm sorry.
Alone.
I'll come back.
And we don't have any information about his concerts prior to
That's what I wanted to hear.
all of that.
It's been a strange journey over the last
couple
of years, and it's really great to see so many people.
Plus, the vocal melody is very Steven. Like he's got those
cheering all of us on.
He's got those leaps,
I'm
like
heading to the studio in the fall to make
ability
a
to
solo
do those
record.
great like vocal
I'll
leaps.
be back across the country next year.
So you can hear that.
Well, why don't we talk a little bit about those
Great to be back at the festival.
Crazy. The bridge is nuts.
The bridge is nuts. It's a bridge mix of nuts.
Oh my land, it is.
How about the States? I don't know.
Would you guys like to discuss the music of this song?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
why not? Heidi, do you want to take lead on this one?
No, I'm kidding.
Sure. So I have it at about 154 beats per minute.
Yes, the suit is a made in America suit.
It's a fairly long song
They had
at
to ship it
359
out of the country.
and I have that.
We ship
so
them
the
our hemp.
form, and again,
ship
it's a
us
long song. So you've got
multicolored
verse 1, chorus, verse 2, verse 3, chorus, verse 4,
Mm-hmm.
chorus, bridge, super long bridge that goes in a million directions. Then verse 5, verse 6, chorus again. I have the chords as E to A to D. Is that what you've got so far, Aaron?
For the intro or for the verse or?
The intro is A, D, E, A.
Okay, yep, same
And
here.
then the first verse is E to A to D to G to E to A to D to G to E to A. But I'm not sure. I think
I had the same chords in a different order.
Is it in the key of A?
I said it was, but there's a key change.
I think it is because it lands on A, but it's got a lot of, if it's in A, then it's got your a 4 chord and a 5 chord, and
it might be in like a mode, but I said A because arguably there's some borrowed chords in there, and I think you could arguably say A or D, but the tonal gravity seems to suggest A to me.
well, in that case, then it would make a lot of sense, because then it would start off in the chorus a 5 chord to a 1 chord to a 4
Right.
chord. So that makes a lot of sense.
But then I have a key change at the bridge. Do you have a key change as well?
But then it would have a G chord as a 7. Yeah, the bridge is, I've got like B minor,
Yeah, me too.
F sharp minor, A minor, G, F sharp. And then it's like a C sharp minor. There's a lot of craziness going on in that bridge.
Yeah, there's a lot, like no matter what key you decide the bridge is, which I'm suggesting B minor, but like
me as well. But
there's all kinds of like passing chords and like borrowed chords, and it's crazy. It's really interesting.
It is crazy. It's like they went into, remember in Spinal Tap, the last concert they played where they went into their jazz fusion?
The Jazz Odyssey, yeah.
Jazz Odyssey. That's kind of what happened with the bridge. It just kind of was like, Steven wants to do jazz. So overall, Aaron and I agree.
I concur.
We are in most likely A major, and it follows like a 5-1-4 progression.
Yeah,
uses the same chords over and over for all of the verses. The chorus goes A to D to F, I think, to A.
Hold on, wait. Let me check my notes. Say again.
I have A, so it would go 1, 4 to. I have an F in there.
Oh, I think they use F as like a passing chord for like half a measure. But I just noted them going from A to D to A to D to A to E to A to E. So it's like 1 4
so
1
it
4
lands
1 5
on a
1
5
5
chord, which would make sense whenever you're in a chorus, because then it brings you back
to
the tonic in the verse. So yeah,
it's very animated. There's a lot of very quick chord changes. It's moving very fast.
And there's a lot of words.
Yeah, well, so I don't want to get too far.
And the way
ahead.
the rhyme scheme of being,
yes,
the rhyme scheme is very interesting. So I stopped to a club. I thought I'd see a show. Everyone was there, at least everyone I know. So he's rhyming the second and fourth lines. Their knickers in a knot, their hands up on their heart, the best they'd ever seen, the greatest work of art. a semi rhyme with heart, and then I wished that it was me. So the
and not was the way he says not is almost a little bit of a rhyme with heart as well.
Yeah, agreed. So that's mine. You got anything to add on there, Aaron? Because this one was...
Sorry, go ahead.
I said this one was...
Yeah, this was definitely not a straightforward one. I was just I don't want to get too far ahead and go into the lyrics, but programmatically, it sounds like I think it would be too facile, too simplistic to like say this is just about writer's block. But I definitely think there's an element to that in there, and there's also an element to like experimenting with different kinds of forms of music. It feels like this is someone who's running out of ideas, so they're trying to be experimental and do different stuff, which is kind of funny because we get into like the bridge where it's just hopping from chord to chord and changing parallel modes or whatever it's doing. And so maybe that there's a little bit of kind of playfulness there as far as programmatic nature of the music.
I can't build on any of that other than just I agree. Like it is. I think that the choices that Steven makes with this song adds to the frenetic, manic feel of the song itself.
Manic is definitely an appropriate word to use, yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of like what he's going for. Like he's trying to kind of give that kind of feel.
Guys, I have 2 words for you, Brian Wilson. Because there's definitely a huge Beach Boys feel in the vocal harmonies in the song, which is, in my opinion, those are the best part of the song, hands down, without a question. Those Beach Boys kind of like Smile era, like vocal harmonies, they're so beautiful and like lush and like very power pop, it's really, really nice.
I was actually going to make sure, like, that was one of my notes. I was like, we need to make sure we talk about, they are their own instrument. The ahs that are in the chorus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, a lot of the other instruments actually drop down in the mix.
They're acting almost like you could put in strings, right?
Yep.
But instead they're doing these vocal ahs, and they're just really gorgeous.
Well, that's an excellent point, because in the bridge that you were just talking about, they drop out all the sound. For the first part of it, they have just guitar.
Could song be an alibi? A lyric replacement for falling in love. But now that the well is dry, I can't understand what I've been singing of.
And then when it gets to that really outrageous part where he's kind of like, I'm going to do opera now.
Do you know what it is?
Well, okay. So the bridge where it's like, do you know what love is? That becomes very different stylistically, which also, though, is sort of, again, emblematic of the kind of the late Wilson era Beach Boys, where they started experimenting a little more and got farther away from that kind of pop, which I think there's a little bit of programmatic nature to that, because I know that I feel like I was right about this being wrong album, but right era, right? I could tell this is like late Page era. And this is when he was starting to feel a little constrained by the band. And I know he wanted to get out and do his own thing and do something different. So I think this is him venting a little, this song.
We're going to get into what the song means in a little bit.
I can't wait to discuss the lyrics with you, because you know the history of the band so much better. So
yeah. But I wanted to point out, like, I love that in the bridge, in that second half of the bridge, when it goes into that operatic part, all the music drops out except for the cello and a little bit of Kevin's piano, and he is just in there tinkling. But the big thing that's driving the song at that point is the background vocals.
Yeah, I mean, those vocals have so much energy in them, and they really help carry the song.
Oh, absolutely.
And to me, that makes the song, like I would probably like this song still without them, but they are the thing that I love most about this song.
And one of the things that Steven has said in the past when he was talking about the bridge is really the band's time that they like to kind of bring into focus what this song really is, or to change it enough so you're getting a behind the scenes look. And I think, like, we have this really the majority of this song, and this will start moving us, I think, into in a minute into the lyrics a little bit, but it turns a little bit at that moment, and the song that has been about this person that is losing it on the outside and on the inside, like then we get this inside look, a really deep inside look into the insecurities.
Yeah, I mean, there's a wonderful song by the Quebecois band Harmonium. For A, I can't remember exactly what it's called, and B, I don't really speak French, so it's like un musicien parmi tant d'autres or something like that, which is like one musician amongst many or something.
Une main sur une épaule, chacun a bien joué son rôle. Le rideau monte, descend, un musicien se serre les dents, il est si bien pour une fois.
And it's a beautiful song, and it expresses in a weird way, kind of like this is like the Black Mirror Twilight Zone version of that song, where that song is like kind of being like, the whole thing is like, there's a musician that worked hard their whole life, they're still struggling in obscurity, the least we can do is listen to them for one night or whatever. And this is like the opposite of that, where it's like, why don't people like me more?
Before we move on to lyrics, because that's a good transition to lyrics, there are a lot of people that don't like stings on guitars. I think that the stinging guitar on this song really works. Like it gives this sense of, I want to say a little bit like anger, almost a little bit of edginess to the song. And I think it really works with the like positivity that you get with the rest of the music in this song. Those stings really kind of edge it.
Manic is the word you used earlier that I keep coming back to, and it's not even necessarily angry, it's just like a little unsettled, a little on the edge, a little bit like losing it, not quite holding it down. And that's, again, I keep coming back to like Brian Wilson and thinking about what he went through, and just kind of his total alienation and like his complete withdrawal from society and everything. And like I feel like, probably, not to try and analyze Stephen, but maybe that was kind of, so maybe he was thinking about that, because I know obviously he was a fan of Brian Wilson, so maybe he was kind of just thinking about Brian and thinking about his own situation and wondering how much he wanted to just, I don't know, to me. Wait, okay, so let me ask you guys, because you're all way more you're way more steeped in the history of the band than I am. Do you imagine, if I were to say to you, this, I'm going to go on the limb and say this is like Stephen Page's Salisbury Hill. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think I could agree with that. I think, some of the, again, we'll get into the lyrics, but it's almost like you knew Stephen was kind of getting to the end there. I think the rise and fall, the monumental rise of the band in the States with Stunt and Maroon really kind of catapulted them in this other direction. And then since then, it's never been back to that level. And I think he kind of says that in the lyrics.
Yeah. I was thinking about verse 3. Once upon a time, they couldn't get enough until it made it big, and that's when it got rough.
Right.
And it says something on there. I want to check and see if that lyric that I found online is right. Because I do have the lyrics here in front of me, and one of the things I want to point out is in this song that that he's talking about running out of ink, running out of ideas, not being able to do anything. It is literally, you can see it takes up the lyrics on it, take up the whole entire page.
Yeah.
Versus the other lyrics for the other songs take up only half the page. It is the longest song, and in terms of lyrics, it is definitively, I probably want to say, the longest song that Steve has ever written. And I just find that I love that irony.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he had something to say.
He had a lot to say. The other thing I want to point out, I'm going to go back. I'm going to splice this back in earlier. This song, for a song that's about running out of ink, running out of ideas, it has, I think, the most instruments on this song than any other song in this album, at least, if not ever.
A lot of instruments in this song.
Jim is doing the electric bass, the double bass, but arco, the cello, and the backup vocals. Kevin is doing piano, a Vox organ, and backup vocals. Steven is doing lead vocals, electric guitar, the baritone guitar. Ed is doing an electric guitar. Tyler is doing drums, percussion, and then they also have Capella Sherwood doing the viola, and then Jim did the string arrangement.
Well, it kind of reminds me of, so again, coming back to this theme of running out of ink, running out of ideas. I mean, it's still fairly straightforward pop rock, power pop, but it's definitely, I mean, it's pulling a lot of jazz influence. It's like you said, it's very heavily orchestrated. There's definitely some experimentation going on. And it kind of made me think of, did you guys see the newest Bill and Ted movie?
Oh, yeah.
No. At the very beginning when they're playing at the wedding or whatever, and they got the experimental song going on that's like fusing different styles and everything is really out there. It's like, we got to find the song that heals the world, dude. You know, it's like they've been trying stuff for like 30 years. They can't find it. It just kind of made me think of that and laugh a little bit. But it's like, I mean, I actually had that song they played in the movie was actually decent, but this song is great. It definitely has that. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm projecting because of what I know will happen soon in the band's history, but it just definitely feels like Steven's trying to spread his wings a little bit. He's feeling a little crowded he's feeling a little put into a box by what the band is and what it's supposed to represent. And I think honestly, I can actually understand where he's coming from, because it's very easy for me to sit here and be like, wow, well, if I was getting paid millions of dollars to make music and stuff, why would I ever want to leave that? But at the same time, if you felt like you had to write a very specific style or constrain yourself to something, I could definitely see how that would chafe, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, Aaron, that as a fan that was listening to this album at the time, being a fan, having been a fan prior to that, so kind of listening to it chronologically without knowing at that time what was happening, I heard this song and my mind went, oh shit, this is Steve's goodbye song. Like, Steve's done. Like it really made me scared when I heard this song.
I think, you know, there are some lyrics also in here that I think he felt kind of like boxed into being the fun, silly band. And when he's trying to write more serious stuff, I mean, you can get away with like Brian Wilson and and all of those things because they were doing so much fun, other things. But at this point now, he was really starting to get more, go in a different direction. And well, I can't, because, you know, stick to that. Stick to the fun, upbeat, Barenaked Lady stuff,
which is funny and ironic,
silly stuff, and
because this song is fun and boppy and definitely energetic,
but the lyrics are dark.
The lyrics are dark,
which again is like, that's why when you ask Tracy who wrote this, it's like, come on. but so it reminds me of something. So I'm gonna do it. I'm referencing Radiohead. It won't be the Movie Giants this week, but it will be Radiohead. I remember reading about around the time that OK Computer came out, I think Tom York was talking about when they were making the Bends. And I actually love the Bends. I think it's a really underrated album. But when they were making the Bends, all the record producers were like, so when are you going to make the next Creep? When's Creep 2 coming out? What's the next Creep? What's the next song? You're going to make another one like Creep? You're going to make another hit? Which is why one of the reasons why they hate that song so much now is because they were like being constantly told, you got to do that thing again. You got to make that big hit again. You got to get the big hip hop get another creep out there. So like, actually, I think it was My Iron Lung, which I love that song off of the Bends, or the lyrics are like, "This is our new song, just like the last one, a total waste of time."
But I can see that. Oh, where's Pinch Me? The ones that were hugely popular with the mainstream.
Yeah, you guys are going to have another 1 week, right?
Right. Where's that 1 week? You're going to do another one? Right. And that must have pissed him off. Like, we got a whole lot of other really good things.
Especially when the ones that were really making it big, that were hitting the chop, those were Ed songs with Ed's style.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm on team The Flag all the way, but I get it. 1 week is what took off.
I mean, 1 week, to me, The Flag is a much better song than 1 week.
Oh, yeah.
But popular opinion would disagree with that. So.
Don't think I've ever heard The
Flag. So, Stefan, like, we haven't heard from you at all tonight. So, speaking of.
No, I'm absorbing. And, I'm reading over the lyrics again. And, like, it seems like it starts off with, kind of the building of his career. It's like, he ends up starting off with the concert and it's like being like, oh man, look at the reaction of the crowd. It's like, they're really into this song and this band. And I really wish that was me, and then him with a demo tape. And it's like, I don't know why he said it wasn't me, but apparently he was denying it. Maybe he was ashamed of his work at that time.
Yeah, and the reaction he got was like, it's not our style or whatever. Like basically, they were saying they didn't like it. So he's like, oh, that's not me. I was just showing you this tape.
yeah. Hey, some friends of mine. Yeah.
So do you guys want to know the really sad part about that?
Sure.
What's that?
This isn't a story.
It's true, huh?
This is true life.
Wow.
So on May 16th, 2020, at his Live from Home series, Steven played this song, and then he shared the following story.
Oh.
That's a song inspired by real events. My neighbor and his wife really did work out and sing along to our songs. And that was another whole lifetime long ago for me, like literally, but also mentally. Like, there was a point in my life where someone said, hey, your stuff is great to work out to. And I kind of got offended because I think, this is my art. You don't work out to my art. You pour over it. I am also the opposite of that now. Now I'm like, if it's in your life, I'm thankful that you having it in your life. And I feel great about that. But back then, 15 years ago, I was a little more serious about that stuff. But it inspired the second verse. A party at a friend's house was our friend, Kurt Swinghammer, and he was having a party at his house one night, and Tyler and I brought the master tape that we had just come back from Vancouver from recording Maybe You Should Drive, and we were really excited and brought the tape for everyone to play there, and we played a couple of songs, and everyone was kind of like, matter of fact, oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. And we thought that it was the greatest thing that we could ever do. And people were like, yeah, that's good. And then Ron Sexsmith showed up with the cassette of his first album and put that on. And as soon as it started, everyone was like, this is so amazing. Oh my God. I mean, Ron, he is amazing. And that's an amazing album. But you couldn't have done that more like a comedy show. It was not on purpose. I think no one else noticed they were doing it except me and Tyler. I carried that with me and I wrote a song about it.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
And as you read this, you could be like, yeah, there are times that Steven writes songs from the perspective, he says it's from, a first person narrative, but he's watching someone else and thinking like, what's their life experience? No, this is Steven's life experience.
Yeah. Like, what breaks my heart is just to look them in the face and see it in their eyes. They wish it wasn't me. It's like that kind of
ouch.
Just to not be liked. I get it.
I've seen, I think back to, like, I went to see John Cusack do a talk before a showing of Say Anything a couple of years ago. And one of my favorite movies of all time is Better Off Dead, but he's still like, he hates that he did those movies, even though it's like that, those catapulted you. Those are what started you. And millions of people think, it's a cultural iconic piece in my opinion. I mean, $2, right. Like, who doesn't know? I want my $2. And you see that a lot where some artists are so ashamed of, or they wish that they had never done that because he's now so serious and he does all serious works. It's like, but get out of your own way. And I'm so glad that Steven was like, yeah, no, I'm okay with, people appreciating what they appreciate for different reasons. You're still making bank, dude. You're still like, shut up. Like, it drives me crazy. Well, that was when I, before I became a serious actor. Shut up. Like, I'm so over these overindulgent, like, people. Like, just, and I was just going to be a composer. And I ended up writing commercial jingles. Well, guess what? That paid the bills, didn't it? And it probably gave you a lot of good experiences.
And it's probably put thoughts in people's minds that they still think.
And I love Steven. And I'm so glad he's now realized that, because he did go through a dickish period where he was, and it's like part of the love for most humans is that if they have joy in what they do and they have an appreciation and respect for other people and they're still putting their pants on, like, I stopped fawning over, and yeah, they're my favorite band and I still kind of freak out, but I realized, you know what? I've done a lot of good in my life and I've been recognized at a very high level and achieved a lot. I'm still putting my pants on, and I met the president. Yeah, guess what? No big digs. He puts his pants on too. He probably farts and has to take poops. Like, no matter what, everybody has to fart and take poops. So I'm like, people that think they're above that. And I'm so glad he made that realization that, you know what, sometimes people just like to listen to your music when I'm running or working out because it's got a good beat or whatever. So I'm glad because I wish more people would do that.
Yeah.
Well, I think overly self-important people drive me crazy.
He had
I put my pants
go
on
down
just like everyone else. Once they're on, they make gold records.
That once they're on, they make gold records.
But he had to hit a real bad rock bottom, I think, to realize that. I mean, this song kind of shows it. It's bleaker than you think, and finishes off To Drive a Man to Drink. This song is really about, like, he was drinking at the time, but that wasn't his big problem. His big problem at that time was, one, his relationships with his wife, and two, cocaine and other drugs and trying to kind of fill that void. But he's giving us that insight of, like, hey, this is what was driving me to these extreme choices that I was making.
A lot harder to rhyme drives a man to snort.
It doesn't work so well.
I like it because it kind of it reflects the challenges and the pressures within the industry, and also kind of the double meaning to its running out of ink in your personal life. You know, you're just like too little butter spread over too much bread, you know, just running thin.
Yeah.
And that's what the industry does too. It really does.
Oh yeah, it really grinds people up
like a vampire.
The other thing I think is, like, being a victim of your own success and feeling like I did this to me, and I think also probably he was probably struggling. And we acknowledge, like, you know, like it's very easy for us to be like, oh man, well, what do you have to complain about? Because you're getting paid to write music and perform music and do that, and, you know, it's like a dream job. And, you know, I'm sure that he probably thought that to himself at times, but it didn't make the situation any more palatable for him. It just made him feel probably guilty on top of everything else, you know. So, like,
right.
I get it. It was probably
well,
pretty,
and that's
pretty
true.
difficult.
Like it's kind of like the question if you're going through about a depression, like it's not. Well, your life is great. You have a house and you have a roof over your head and food in your stomach. It's not that easy. So I get it from that perspective too, Aaron. I'm glad you brought that up because you're right. Like. But a lot of people think, well, just stop. Your life is great. So what do you have to be so depressed about? That's not how depression works.
Have you tried not being depressed?
Have you tried not? Yeah, because it's not about those things. So I totally see what you're saying now about that.
Well, so then he also gives us a really dark look into this other side of being a singer as well. I used to hold you close. And so this is the next part that is my favorite part. You used to tell me things you never told a soul until you heard me sing the details of your life condensed into a song. Like the fact that he's taking all of these things that are personal to his other person, putting them into song. And then she realizes that everyone else is listening to this song and now she can't look at him anymore.
Well, remember going back to in the car, when she hears this song, I mean, and that's him using, like, he used everything in his writing, relationships and ideas and
nothing's off the
all
table.
of that stuff. Nothing's ever sacred. And you think like it's no different than a writer. Wait, you put me in your book? Like I'm that person in your book?
Yeah, or a comedian. He made a joke about that.
Yeah. Like it's got to be hard to be married to Stephen Page because he does take everything that he sees and puts it into a song.
Right.
Yeah. And unlike Paul McCartney, who writes about bathrooms, like Stephen Page is writing about personal stuff.
Like T-Swizzle, man. You don't ever want to date Taylor Swift because you're going to be in a song.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, you don't want to be our boyfriend.
No.
So then the song takes a really dark turn after the bridge. We now go into stalker territory. Steven, what are you doing?
You called the cops and told them it was me.
It's the do you know what it is to love? Really love. It seems like it's just thrown kind of in there.
But it's not.
But it's not. But I think it's one of the deepest parts of the whole song.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to hear your thoughts on it and everybody's thoughts on just that, because it's like it's I don't know. It's not like it's bleaker than you think. I'm running out of ink. It's just, and it doesn't seem to be a regular stanza or whatever it's called in a paragraph in a song. What is it called in a song? Like a paragraph?
Well, I mean, here they're calling it a verse, but
verses. Yeah. So it doesn't seem like it's just a normal one. It seems like it's kind of broken up, maybe, unless it's like, could song be an alibi, lyric replacement for falling in love? But now the well is dry. I can't understand what I've been singing of. Yeah, it seems like it's just broken up. Do you know what it is to love, to really love, to really love? Do I?
Well, and that's, I think, a really... So I love this song, especially because of the bridge. There are some people that would be like, oh, the bridge is what makes it so, like, different, and I don't like that. The bridge is what makes me love it, because, once again, we get this deeper look into him that, like, at least for this character, I think is really Steve. He has been, he was struggling a lot with his relationships, especially, well, not with just the band, but also his own personal romantic relationships at this time. For him to say basically he's kind of saying, I'm not in love right now. Like, every song I'm writing is an alibi. It's a lyrical replacement to falling in love. But now I can't write anymore. And now I haven't really been singing about love this whole time. I don't know what I've been really singing about. And so then I love how it changes again. and becomes a whole different thing. And he almost is throwing this question out to other people. Like, do you know what it is to love? Do you really know? Like, and this is a question that people have asked in song since time immortal of like, do you know what love is? Do you know how to love? Would you recognize love?
I want to know what love is. I want you to tell me.
What love is.
And then he turns it around on himself.
Show me.
In 2 words, he turns that around and he makes what the song is at least really importantly about. Do I?
Yeah.
Like, I've been writing all these love songs. I really don't know what love is to begin with, and I've been trying to tell you all this time. It just is astounding how in 2 words he can turn the whole thing around, and I mean, it's heart-wrenching.
Or has been so desensitized to it, you know, that you don't know if you can anymore. It's like if you're with your partner and you're constantly saying, "Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you," eventually they're just words that it's like, do I really mean that? It's like, is there really, what's behind that?
You
know,
that's a really good point.
So this guy has not only at this point lost his wife or girlfriend, but he has also lost the ability to write. And now he goes into stalker territory.
Yeah, and he calls his ex-wife every day until she calls the cops on him.
I love one of my favorite lines of this song is, "I see you all the time now that you are gone." I took advantage of the fact that you were here when you were here, and now I'm stalking you all the time.
Well, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I see you all the time now that you're gone. I think that's the idea, is like the familiarity breeding contempt idea. You know, people start to take each other for granted, and once you realize what you were missing, you know, in this case, this person is unable to let it go, and so turns to stalking. Unfortunately, it was really dark. But
you would think at first that it was just a metaphorical line of "I see you all the time" in my head now that you're gone.
It's literal, yeah.
No, it becomes literal in a couple more lines. Yeah, it gets dark, and then and you think, oh, that's as dark as it can get. Nope.
No.
Oh wait, there's more.
Oh wait, get 2 knives.
So now he starts talking about throwing all of his music off the bridge and hoping it would float. Now, why would he throw it off the bridge and hope that it would float? I'm not quite. That's the only thing about this song that I'm like, that's a weird assumption.
Maybe he's hoping his music was a witch.
Float! It floats over into the pond!
Did it float?
No, I think it's a metaphor, right? It's a metaphor for like, is it watertight? You know, was it good? If it floats, then there's not water getting into the bag. It floats. It's watertight. He did a good job. So it's his way of saying, like, this is my test for, you know, was my music good or not? But the real like knife twisting is the last line of that verse, where he's like looking at the bag and he said, you know, I wish that I could swim. I wish that I could drink. I wish that it was me. It's like, wow.
That's,
and I think
pretty intense.
He could also be meaning like, you know, I threw it in there, but I figured I could go get it, because it's like, you know, you throw something in the trash and you're like, that's okay, I can still go get it. Or in movies where they throw their manuscript in the fireplace and then they're like frantically trying to pull it out, and then it didn't work that way. So he's like, well, you know, it's that moment of, screw it, all my stuff is bad, I'm just gonna throw it away, but I can always jump in and get it. And then he couldn't.
Oh, see, I was taking that from go ahead, Stephen.
No. Well, I took this as like when you're in the music industry. I've never been in the music industry, but I have an idea of what it is. It's like once you commit to presenting your band and your music out there, there's no turning back. It's essentially a metaphor of like throwing off the bridge or jumping off a bridge is like, once you commit, you're committed. That's it. It's out there. And I took the, I thought it would float, the water made it sink, as basically an analogy for his music being in the industry. It's like, once it's out there, is it going to float or is it going to sink? And the bag was bleeding ink. All his creative ideas is just like all over the place. It's all leaching out. And I think that the "I wish that it was me" was similar to the bag bleeding ink. It was like, I wish that I had that much ink in me still. That would just kind of come right out.
Oh, that's
you know
good.
what I mean? So
that's interesting.
That's interesting. I literally interpreted it as he just wanted to yeet himself off that bridge, to use the parlance of our time.
And see, I thought he was literally saying, "I wish that I was bleeding."
Oh no!
Well,
I think was bleeding.
He wishes he
I
was
wish
the
that
bag that
me.
flew over the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I like all those interpretations. Can I bring up one more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Last word. Last word of the first verse. I wish that it was me. Last word of the last verse. I wish that it was me. He's got a little poetry going on there.
Well, yeah, it's a lyric. It's like, it's all poetry.
Well, yes, but sometimes they repeat themselves in order to make it poetic.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I mean, one is from, gosh, I wish I was successful and, my music was out there. The other end is the tail end of it being like, I wish I had more in me. So,
but I like the fact that he's using that same exact line to once again bring out two different emotional spaces and two different ideas in general of what he wished what his life was.
Most definitely.
I love it when Steve does that. One of my greatest things about BNL music to me is when they use one sentence to mean several different things, and I thoroughly enjoy that he did it here.
Yeah. Well, you just don't know it's bleaker than you think,
Right.
So speaking
this whole song about running out of ink.
So this song is about running out of ink, but it was made several different times. They just kept reusing this song. So they re-recorded it in the Glenn Gould Theater. Well, before we go on, I should ask, does anyone else have anything else they want to bring up about the lyrics or music of this song?
I think it's pretty well discussed at this point.
I think we covered it pretty well.
No, one thing I did want to ask you guys about, and maybe you could tell me more about it and explain the choice that was made, is the drums during that chorus. Because it changes significantly.
I intended to talk about that. Thanks for reminding me. This is more of the Beach Boys influence. It's got that surfer, almost like a Wipeout kind of rhythm on the floor.
Yes!
Song. Right? It's very Beach Boys. So I have to. I mean, I have to think that this was definitely a song that was influenced by Brian Wilson and or the Beach Boys, just between the vocal harmonies and the kind of surfer drums and the experimentation. You get the latter day Beach Boys who started to kind of go out there and be a little more like experimental, like. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I mean, I would assume, given that they wrote a song called Brian Wilson, that they're Beach Boys fans, but I can definitely hear that influence in this song.
It's kind of interesting, the analogy with surfing, even. Because, I mean, there's a lot of joy with surfing, but you're on the edge of wiping out all the time.
Yeah,
if you don't have the strength or you're not able to maintain it, then you're wiping out. And then you're underwater. And then literally your life could be at danger, at risk and in danger from that. So I don't know. There's a good analogy between that and the song, because you're trying to stay afloat, you're trying to surf this wave, but you're on the edge.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't build on that. That was a good analogy. So I did want to go back to the other versions of this. Did anyone else listen to the other two versions of this song?
I listened to the acoustic version.
The acoustic version. So this was the one that was done at the Glenn Gould Theater when they did the all new review. They were preparing to release this as an acoustic album as well, as an extra for people who ordered the whole 2-disc set as one. And then they just decided to they recorded it all. They did I want to say it was 19 songs at that concert. Their original plan was to do all 29 songs at that concert, but they ran out of time. They did 19. They released the first 13. Yeah, the first 13 that were found on the first album on the all new review. This song, since it was on Barenaked Ladies Are Men, they did not release it on all new review, but instead released it on the USB drive that you could buy at the concerts during this tour.
Could song be an alibi, a lyric replacement for falling in love? But now that the well is dry, I can't understand what I've been singing on.
So, Aaron, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the acoustic version of this.
Well, it's interesting. It made me think of the Nirvana Unplugged concert where, a lot of people were criticizing Nirvana being just a bunch of noise and like, oh, well, if you didn't have those, huge, amplifiers and a bunch of really loud sound, and your songs wouldn't sound good. And then they went and put on this really intimate, nice little acoustic set and just proved like, no, these are great songs, So it's kind of like that. Like this is still a great song without, as much. We were talking about the lush orchestration and instrumentation. I love that. This song is still good without it. The vocal harmonies are still definitely the best part of the song. And the fact that they're in there, I think is what, I don't want to say saves it, because I don't think it would be terrible without them, but it definitely it keeps it like really a great song. It lets it remain a great song even without the orchestration. Having said
that acoustic bridge is gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Having said that, I do prefer the studio version just because I love all the instrumentation and stuff, and I'm a big fan of that wall of sound kind of aesthetic. But yeah, I mean, it was nice. It was beautiful. It worked. It was nice to kind of hear it just kind of pared down, and you can just concentrate on it. In a way, I think I was gonna say it might have helped you focus on the vocal harmonies, but they really boost those up, especially towards the end on the studio version. I wanted to say that the very last time those harmonies come in on the studio version, oh man, they're so good. That's the best part of the song, in my opinion. I mean, I love the bridge too, but
you just reminded me of something that I wanted to make sure I said about this, which is Steven's voice during this song, during the studio version of the song. He sounds like he is losing it. He is on the edge himself and ready to just go down at any moment.
Agreed. It's almost sad listening to it. It's like it was, the more I listened to it over the last few days, it was like he's having a meltdown.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
That's interesting you said that, Heidi, because the first listen through, until about halfway through the song, I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of a fun little song. And it's just getting darker and darker, and I can hear like the desperation in his voice. I'm like, nah, it's not so fun, but it's a really good song.
I mean, it's a good song, but dang.
That last, This Is What It Takes, he is just, he cracks. And it's not a bad, like, I'm out of tune crack, but his voice has had it at that point. And it's... This is what it takes to drive a man to drink.
Well, this is why I hate auto-tune and I hate overly corrected, overly edited vocals. Is we're getting to the point where computers can sing, so we may as well just let a computer sing if you're going to do that. What I love about raw kind of like, I don't know, I just mentioned Nirvana. I love Kurt Cobain. I think he actually was a great vocalist. I know I get that he's not for everyone, but you could hear so much emotion in his voice and the way that it would crack and the way that it would kind of like open and close. And it's about expression of emotion. And for me, that'll trump like being perfectly on pitch or, having a quote unquote, like aesthetically pleasing timbre any day. I don't know. What do you think, Heidi?
No, I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I think that there's something about raw emotionality. That's not like a real word. But hearing the realness is really important. And I don't think that can be replicated. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think that music is anything other than the conveyance of emotion. It's a conduit, in my opinion.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
And I think some people do really amazing job at that, and others are not so great at that. Steven is one of those people that can delve into that side of himself and really bring it out.
Yeah. And I'm curious. I've seen the guy, like, because we're gonna be there in a couple days. And it is still odd. Like, I do feel that there's a depth that is missing. And there's that Ron, there's nobody that can do it like Steven can. But
there are times
I'm glad he got help. I'm glad he's healthy. But I feel like this whole song was just a big cry for help too. Like it was just like madness.
I want to also ask, did anyone listen to the Art of Time ensemble version that was done by Steven? Well, I should say it was called, I always get it wrong, A Singer Must Die, which was done with the Art of Time ensemble and Stephen Page in 2010. Did anyone happen to listen to that version?
No.
Okay.
That sounds interesting.
So it was a whole album where Steven did sometimes covers of other people's songs, sometimes covers of his own songs, did a whole bunch of different stuff. But one of the songs one was Paranoid Android, which was really cool. But he did do this song as well.
You have my attention.
I figured that would grab your attention.
It's bleaker than you think. I'm running out of ink. Give a guy a break. This is what it takes to drive a man to drink. A party at a friend's Toronto school of scene. I thought I'd bring a tape to show them where I'd been. They listened for a while. The lyrics made them smile. They said that it was fine, although it's not their style. I said it wasn't me.
That's very Mozart. Kind of Gershwin there.
House. I saw you on the lawn. I see you.
Oh my god, dude!
Wow.
What? That was incredible.
By the way, I'll do this for you, Aaron. Hold on.
Oh, this is quite possibly my favorite song of all time. You gotta get to the chorus part.
The noise, I'm trying to get some rest.
I even have to listen to this whole album.
From all the unborn chicken voices.
So, little taste of that there for you, Aaron.
I have a question for you.
How did I keep that from you for so long?
Right. When you were first trying to get me into BNL and Stephen Page, why didn't you just immediately show me that?
Well, because this wasn't out yet at that point.
Heidi, do you agree with me? There's like in the bridge on the A Singer Must Die version, there's definitely like some Gershwin in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Holy cow.
That was beautiful.
That was incredible.
It was beautiful.
I think it's gorgeous. I still like the original way better, but it's a really neat rendition of it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? Holy cow.
I mean, anytime you can get Steven and then a whole orchestra behind them, I'm already listening.
Oh, absolutely. Like, wow. That was just beautiful.
Well, especially with the manic feel of this song, I just got this image of like Bugs Bunny conducting the orchestra. You know what I mean? It was
like...
Oh, especially when it went from the bridge to back to the verse. That is such a dramatic change.
Wow, like that was stunning. Actually, just
I'm gonna have to listen to that whole album.
Well, why don't we? Oh, go ahead.
I'm thinking about in that song about the pinnacle of his career. It's like that you've reached the big time when there's an full-on orchestra behind you doing your songs. You know, as like I'm thinking about him singing this song and thinking about his situation where he's at the top now. You know, I'm thinking about what is he thinking of? Like when he's there, he's actually there doing it. It was like,
you know what he's not thinking, Stefan?
The beginning of the end.
No, he's not thinking that it's going to be exactly the same thing as the last time he's done it. Heidi is not getting up what I'm putting down there.
I'm not getting it either.
Wait, say that again.
I said that you know what he's thinking when he's in front of the whole orchestra standing there singing the song. So singing one of his songs, and he's in front of a whole orchestra and they're playing his songs. And Stefan's, do you know what that must be like? I said, well, I know what he's not thinking. He's not thinking it's got to be the same thing.
Because it must have been the same thing?
Because it must have been the same thing.
That Charlie Brown went through.
Because yeah, exactly. Because that's next week's song.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Segway master combo breaker.
Oh, wow, that was crazy. I love Same Thing.
Well, I wonder how much you like this song. So why don't we do some ratings on this? Okay.
Don't go with me first. Don't go with me first. Don't.
I'm just trying to think what we're going to give for a scale.
How many paranoid androids?
I want to do how many wet plastic bags.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm just, when you said that, wet plastic bags has the same like syllabic content as fake plastic trees, and I'm still on radio.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, I think I've stunned both Aaron and Heidi, so I'm going to go with Stefan first. Stefan.
Yeah, I'll start off this. It's a dark song. It takes you on a journey, and it's palpable. You can feel it. You can be in that same room with that person who sings this song and wrote the song. Yeah, it's right there. It's just good. It's just really good. And the bridge is all over the place, but it's well done as well. And it shows the chaos, and it shows the uncertainty, the turmoil, and it's like I love Beach Boys. So I love the Beach Boys kind of smile era kind of thing. So I really like that. It was a good song. I really like it. I like it a lot better than last week's song, which I could not get the stinking accordion keyboard out of my head for the entire week. And I was having problems because I couldn't get rid of it. I was thinking of it when I was sleeping. I was thinking of it when I was awake. I couldn't get it out of my freaking head. I hated it. Oh God. Thank God that song is done. So this is way better. Sorry, I went
Aaron, it almost sounds like that's his another postcard.
Oh Lord.
Oh God. God, I couldn't get it. I couldn't shake it.
But
It's
we're
like a
talking
night-
about this week's song.
Oh yeah. Oh, so this week's song is great. I love it. And it's like the lyrics are the rise and fall and the pressures and it's just so the vulnerability, I think, is just kind of mind-boggling. And it's like just it's right out there. It's great. I thought this was a great song, especially as like when he throws his work into the water and it's just bleeding ink, and he's like, "Why can't that be me?" You know?
Yeah,
like
that was a lyric that really drove it home for me, definitely.
Yeah, so just you felt it. It's like
Yeah.
even in the beginning, it's like, oh man, look at the fans with their hands upon their hearts and they're feeling the music, and I really want to share my creativity and my vision with them. It's like, I want them to, why can't it be me? And then it's like on the flip side of it, it's like, oh God, I've got no more. I've got nothing left. Why can't that be me? Yeah, it's a great song. I would definitely put it on my playlist. The lyrics are just awesome, top notch. I'm going to rank this fairly high this week. I like the music to it. The harmonies are great. Everything it's just a great song, and it's impactful. And it's now that you shared the one with the orchestra. Oh my God!
Yeah,
that is just amazing. Gosh, I'm going to have to say this one for me is a 4.3 because it's great.
Right.
I like it.
4.3. Why don't I go over to Aaron?
Come on, Aaron.
Well, I had a question. Maybe someone who knows the band's personal information a little more can answer. Does Steven have bipolar?
Yes.
Okay. So
we will be coming back to that with a couple of other songs that we have not yet hit, but yes.
This to me is exactly what a manic phase sounds like. And it's like, I think what made me say bipolar and not just like mania or something was the lyrical content has this, like, the music is very manic, but when you look at the lyrical content, it's all those negative recurring thoughts in the back of the head, and it's all the insecurities and all that. So yeah, this song, wow, I'm in total agreement with Stefan. It's very impactful. It's very emotionally resonant. It's gorgeous, especially the chorus and the Beach Boys kind of beautiful harmonies. I like it even more now that I know there's an orchestrated version, which I'm going to go and listen to a couple times after the show. Wow, yeah, it's
on Spotify for anyone that wants to listen to A Singer Must Die.
A Singer Must Die. Easily in the top playlist. So I mean, there's so many wonderful songs that I've given a 5 to. I'm not sure if I'm ready to put it up there, but it's definitely, oh man, I'd say I would give Running Out of Ink 4.5 wet plastic bags out of 5. It's really fantastic.
Wow, that's impressive.
You said 4.5?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. It's a good song. It just is a good song.
Heidi, what about you?
I am right along the same wavelength with Stefan and Aaron. I think, again, the more I listened to this week, it was never a song I truly overly paid attention to before. I think, again, I'm still stuck on, like, Blamin' kind of, I listened to them many times, but never with the same intent that I did with some other albums for some of the songs. And this one always had my head going, but I never really paid attention to the lyrics as much as I have the last few weeks. I mean, the last few days. And it is brilliant. It's a journey kind of song. It takes you on like you start feeling one way and then you start feeling another way, and then when the bridge hits, it just kind of not punches you in the gut, and it makes you realize, especially when you are close to the band, you know the history of the band, and you know the shit storm that went down in the mid 2000s. It really made, and now again, because honestly, most of us, we all grew up, like we came through our 20s and 30s with the band. Like they're not that much older than we are. And so experiencing all of those things, and really, especially when you're kind of attached the way we are, and have such an appreciation the way we do, like that bridge just smacked me in the face when I really started listening to it. And then again, the orchestra and Art of Time track was just like that. It's just brilliant. I am going to go right along. I know, long description, but I'm going to go with a 4.6 on this one. Ooh. I think it's cinematic. Ooh. It's very cinematic to me.
Wow. Okay. For a good song like this, I'm still the haterade.
It's all relative, Stefan. I've been there so many times. They're like, you only gave this a 3.9, you monster.
I know, right?
You monster.
Oh my God, you killed Kenny.
Well, there's a monster at the end of this episode, but it's not me. I really love this song, and I have to say, I love that everyone else was struggling with this score. I heard you all struggling, like, oh, where do I go? Yeah. Like, even to the last moment, because all through this week, I was struggling with what do I do? And then I hit this moment of calmness and peace, and I'm like, nope, that's totally what I gotta do. I mean, there are other songs that have this same exact theme. An album earlier, we heard the same theme from Ed, or 2 albums earlier, we heard the same theme from Ed with Pinch Me. But I think this is much better.
Yeah, this is approaching that topic in a very different way.
This is definitely a Steve song approaching that topic versus Ed's Pinch Me. It has everything that I want from B&L. It has the strings, it has the harmonies, it has the turns, and I hate saying humor, but at the same time, Steven is laughing at himself.
It's dark humor, but it's definitely intentionally humorous at times. Yeah.
And everyone that knows anyone that's in mental health knows that dark humor is the only way we get through. It is totally and absolutely. This song's a 5 for me.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, the Loverade on tap over here.
Yep. I don't have many 5s. This is a 5.
I considered. I was going back and forth. I might come back to this on New Year's and be in 5 land with you. I'm not sure. It's really good.
Yeah, I just love it. This song is not the same thing in my book.
Huh. Wow. It's a great song. I mean, you blew me. You probably should not have played the orchestral version of this, because that's all I can think of now. I'm just blown away.
I mean, it is pretty gorgeous. It doesn't have the manicness that the original does, that wall of sound, but I do still love a good orchestra, and this is a good song for that.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
A couple of years ago, I heard Weird Al backed by an orchestra, and there were some songs that did really well, and then there's some songs I was like, I know it's your hit, or one of your many hits.
Yeah, but some songs lend themselves better to that than others. Yeah,
right. And there were some songs I was like, I could have gone without that song to pick a better song that would sound good with an orchestra. This song would. I mean, it sounds amazing with an orchestra. So this and Brian Wilson are amazing with that orchestra.
Well, the orchestra version made me think of, and that's why I kind of inquired about Bipolar, I remember an interview with Carrie Fisher, who struggled with bipolar disorder. She was talking about when she was in a manic episode. She said she described it as it feels like when when a song comes on the radio, it's like because of you, or like because you willed it, or it's the soundtrack to what's going on for you. You know what I mean? It's very, very much that kind of manic energy. It's really interesting.
Speaking of manic energy, this week's appearance is, I know we're kind of on a repeat here, but it's just kind of what's in my notes for whatever reason, is Sean Cullen performing with BNL on Ships and Dips doing Styx's Come Sail Away, and it is hilarious and much fun. You're muted again, Heidi.
I like the Cartman version. It's the dog.
Oh yeah, I mean the Cartman version is excellent.
Away with me, you guys.
Yeah, it is.
And
it's like you can't help but start singing. Come sail away.
Paradoxically, that was somehow reminiscent of Cartman's rendition, and yet extremely musically sound.
Agreed.
So, I'm not very knowledgeable about Sean Cullen. I don't know who he is. What's his relation to the band? What does he do?
Is he a comedian?
He was in Corky and the Juice Pigs, wasn't he?
I have no idea who he is.
Corky and the Juice Pigs.
Hi, kids. Well, today we're going to have a song about a very special animal. Yeah, we want everybody to join in.
I love this so much, I can't even.
Was that Jeff? Is that Jeff?
And black, the friendly birds of China, white and black, they rarely reproduce. What shall be done about these Chinese bears? What shall be done about these friendly bears? Die, they must die, the pandas must die. Die, they must die, the pandas must die. Yay!
Were they like a ska band, or was that just kind of like?
That was just one. Okay, no, they did all kinds of different things.
That's great, though. That's wow.
So that's Sean Cullen's, huh?
Yep.
That's pretty much it.
Hold
Dude
on.
Looks like Jeff.
So they
got that long ponytail kind of thing.
So they did. They were on Fox Mad TV for the longest time as their opening band.
Pigs with their tribute to REM.
Hey, here I am, standing on my legs.
That's pretty good.
They're under me in my trousers. I'm standing on them. Here I am. And I'll be here forever.
Hold on, I do have to find Eskimo. Hold on.
A spot on REM.
Oh yeah, like these guys.
It's great. Oh my lord, that's funny. Okay, I see why they have him on. He's very funny and very creative.
Now, like the Proclaimers would sing it, I'm the only gay Eskimo. I'm the only one I know. I'm the only gay Eskimo in my tribe. Like Bob Dylan, I'm the only gay Eskimo. I'm the only one I know. I'm the only gay. Like Rico Kasich from the Cars. I'm the only gay Eskimo. The only one I know. I'm the only gay Eskimo.
That's pretty good.
She used to be like Oasis. I'm the only gay Eskimo. Like Van Morrison.
The only Eskimo. I ain't seen it coming on the street. I'm a ton of this. Jesus Christ fits in there somehow as well. Oh, crap was good.
So that's why that. So that was the band, Stefan, that that BNL toured with on their first tour. They opened for Corky and the Juice Pigs, because Corky and the Juice Pigs said, "Hey, we think you guys are pretty funny. Join us. Come open for us on the whole tour."
Oh, that's cool. All right. So that makes sense because, when you see Sean Cullen's performing, it's like you can see that there's an aura of respect that BNL has for him, and it's like he presents himself in such a way that's like, this is me. I've done this, 1,000 times. So I'm just wondering what that history was, and that's pretty awesome.
And Sean, we know you listen. Come on the show.
All right, y'all.
Well, guys, it has been wonderful to have you guys on tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I will see you Friday. I have presents for some of you. I'm going to have to mail them because, wait, nobody else is going but you and I?
Yeah, it's just the two of us now.
So I'm going to have to put them in the mail. Wah, wah.
Oh.
I want to see what I made for us.
Yeah. Heidi's been busy.
I have a cricket. So I'm going to have to get
nice.
You need to send me all of your addresses. So
I can send you my address.
All one of these.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Oh, my God.
Look at the other side, though.
I love it.
Oh, my Lord.
Anything that you wanted to get to me, you could just give to Tracy, too, and you can get it to me.
Oh, that's true. Close. So I'll just bring all of them up and give yours to Tracy then. That'd be
good. Yeah, because I can give it to Stefan, too.
Yeah, I made those just for us because we're awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can use it as a luggage tag or a keychain or whatever.
Yeah. I think that'd be wonderful. How crazy would it be to be in an airport and you've got that as a luggage tag and someone sees it and they're like, oh, wait.
Wait, that's you guys? Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
I like them.
Awesome.
Yeah, Tracy, he can just leave his on the step in his house. I'm often, just looking in his windows, so I can just pick it up then.
He calls you every day until you call the cops.
I never call the cops.
On that note, gentlemen, it is a pleasure.
I quit.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets, except maybe one.
And anyone who is out there that makes pinball machines, there is no B&L pinball machine. There needs to be a pinball machine.
Yeah, it seems like something that should be a thing.
Matter of fact, you should be able to hit certain pieces on it, and Steve and Andy just disappear off the board for a while.
Oh, ouch!
That would be in bad taste. I liked it.
There go the dogs.
All right, let's start recording.
To celebrate joining Pantheon Podcasts, Rock Camp, the podcast, the official podcast of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, is giving away a guitar signed by Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, Marty Friedman, formerly of Megadeth, and legendary shredders Zakk Wylde, plus our rockstar counselors like Vinny Appice, Monty Pittman, and more. To enter to win, simply follow, rate, and review our podcast on your preferred platform, and that's all you have to do. For more information, go to rockcamp.com/podcast.